Hey guys, Daniel here with Value Investing with Daniel. Thank you for tuning into this video. In this video, we're going to be discussing diversification and what my beliefs are in terms of diversification for your portfolio. In my opinion, and this largely corresponds with, in my mind, the other great value investors out there, diversification within your portfolio shouldn't be forced. Meaning, if you have 30 good ideas, then you should own those 30 companies, provided that they are good ideas. The issue is it's quite difficult to have 30 good ideas at the same time, and it becomes more so difficult to even have 15 or even 10 good ideas as the amount of capital you have increases. My position is basically similar to that, basically of Benjamin Graham and Warren Buffett, that a 20 stock portfolio is already well diversified, provided that you have a good understanding of what those companies are and what they do, and you believe them to be good ideas. Currently, in terms of my own portfolio, I own 10 companies currently within my own portfolio, apart from my own personal business, which I would consider, also, I guess, a company. So 11, let's say, companies in total is what I split my ownership among. In terms of diversification, I really don't necessarily believe that owning more than the sum of your good ideas is somehow beneficial. Meaning, if at any one point I only had 3 or 4 good ideas in terms of investment, I would be perfectly comfortable owning only 3 or 4 stocks. If I had 50 good ideas, then I would be comfortable owning 50. At the current moment, I only have 11 good ideas, so I'm invested in those 11 until they no longer are good ideas. So I don't necessarily have a target in terms of the number of companies that are within my portfolio. I don't think I could ever be comfortable with less than maybe 3 or 4. Like, for example, I really, if it got to the point where there just were no good ideas out there, then I would buy the market. But I really doubt we would get to that point anytime, within the future. And there's some companies that I own that I plan on holding forever, like the Canadian banks, as one example. The 6 major Canadian banks, I own them. Like, that represents a huge part of my portfolio, and I don't imagine basically ever selling them. So if we were to basically look at it from a value investing perspective, I think the most important thing to consider is how many good ideas do you have. That's equal to the amount of stocks that you should own, and no more and no less. So particularly in the small cap space, which is where I focus most of my time searching, because I know that that's where the good ideas are. I have no problem owning as few as 3 or 4 companies if that is the total amount of good ideas that I have. I own a personal business, so that's one. So meaning I only got to find 2 other publicly traded securities for me to feel very comfortable. Because I know that you're not going to get rich owning hundreds of different companies. Probably you're going to get rich owning those few good companies at a time that you can buy and do whatever with. But the idea is that you have a certain amount of good ideas at any one time that gets progressively fewer and fewer the more money you have. And if you don't put substantial amounts of your net worth into those ideas, you're probably not going to be able to beat the market. So it's that simple. People have different strategies and different opinions on this, but basically I think if you own more than 20 stocks, I just don't see how it's feasible, because I just don't think that there's that many good ideas out there. And statistically, I mean, I know this is even disputed now within modern finance, but traditionally the belief was that beyond 15 stocks equally weighted provided you with 85% of the benefits of diversification. But in my opinion, it's very hard to have 15 good ideas, right? And I don't even have the amount of capital like some of these people are managing, and I struggle to find more than 10 ideas at one time. Like I say, currently I own 10 stocks plus my own personal business, and some of them I'm getting ready to sell, and I'm struggling to find some new good ideas, and which is normal. I mean, it's very hard to find more than 1 or 2 or 2 good ideas in a year is actually a pretty good year. So how do you diversify to 50 or 100 stocks? There's just not that many good ideas out there. I'm sorry, at any one time. The market is largely efficient. So, when you see an opportunity, you got to be willing to put a good amount of your net worth into it. If you don't, it's going to be very difficult for you to beat the market substantially. So that's something to keep in mind. The diversification of your portfolio should be equal to the amount of good ideas that you have, and no more and no less, in my personal opinion. You should be comfortable owning 3 or 4 good ideas if that's all that you can find. Obviously, you have to search for more, and the reward is equal to the amount of smart work that you put into it. So putting work into searching for securities to invest is also an important factor. So that's something to keep in mind. I hope you found the video informative. Thanks. Talk soon.